Esteemed individuals, envision with me, if you will, a realm where every aspiration of your heart materializes, a world where your deepest yearnings and most fervent wishes spring forth into reality as naturally as a seed becomes a mighty oak. This is not a fantasy, nor is it some distant utopia. This is the very world in which you live, breathe, and have your being. The only barrier between you and this magical realm of infinite possibility is your own imagination. Tonight, we gather to explore a profound truth, one that has the power to transform your life in ways you may have never thought possible. Our theme, our guiding star for this journey, is this: taking chances is always preferable to remorse, because no one is going to do it for you. Let these words sink deep into your consciousness, feel them resonate within the very core of your being, for in these words lies the key to unlocking the vast potential that slumbers within you, waiting to be awakened. Many of you may be thinking, but how can this be? Surely there are chances too great, risks too perilous to take. And to you, I say this: the greatest risk of all is to live a life unlived, to reach the end of your days with the bitter taste of regret on your lips, knowing that you never dared to reach for the stars that called to you in the quiet of the night. You see, my dear listeners, this world, this magnificent stage upon which we play out the drama of our lives, is nothing more and nothing less than the outward picturing of our own consciousness. Every circumstance, every event, every person we encounter is but a reflection of our own inner state of being. And it is through the power of our imagination that we shape and mold this inner state, this consciousness, into the reality we experience. Now, you may ask, what does this have to do with taking chances? It's everything, my listeners, everything. For when you truly understand that the world is plastic to your thoughts, that reality bends and shapes itself to conform to your beliefs and expectations, then you realize that there is no such thing as risk. There is only opportunity, only the chance to step into the fullness of who you truly are. Consider for a moment the story of the man who buried his talent in the ground, afraid to risk losing it. What was his reward? Nothing but the bitter ashes of regret. And what of the one who took his talent and multiplied it? He was given dominion over cities, over worlds of possibility. You, my dear listeners, are that man. You are that woman. Within you lies a talent, a gift, a spark of divine creativity that is uniquely yours. Will you bury it in the ground of fear and doubt, or will you nurture it, fan it into a blazing flame that lights up the world? The choice, as always, is yours. But remember this: no one else can make that choice for you. No one else can live your life, dream your dreams, or fulfill your destiny. That sacred task belongs to you and you alone. Now, let us delve deeper into this idea of chance and regret. Many of you may be thinking of risk in terms of external action, starting a business, moving to a new city, declaring your love to that special someone. And yes, these are indeed chances in the conventional sense. But I tell you this: the true risk, the only risk that truly matters, is the risk of believing in yourself, of daring to imagine a reality far grander than your current circumstances might suggest. For you see, my listeners, the outer world is but a shadow, a reflection of your inner world. When you take the chance of truly believing in your own divine nature, of accepting that you are a creative force in this universe, then the so-called risks of the outer world fade into insignificance. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor in a play. You have been given a role to perform, a character to embody. Now, within the context of the play, the character may face risks and challenges. They may tremble in fear at the thought of confronting the villain or declaring their love to the romantic interest. But you the actor, know that it is all just a performance. You know that when the curtain falls, you will still be you, unchanged and unharmed by the drama that unfolded on stage. This, my dear listeners, is the truth of your existence. You are not merely the character you play in the drama of life. You are the actor, the director, and indeed, the very author of the play itself. The risks that seem so daunting, so insurmountable, are nothing more than plot devices in a story of your own creation. So I ask you, will you write a story of timidity and regret, or will you pen an epic tale of courage, of daring, of triumphant self-realization? Remember, the power to choose is yours. No one else can write your story for you. No one else can take the chances that call to your soul. No one else can live your life. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I take a chance and everything falls apart? To you, I say this: there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. Every seeming setback, every apparent failure, is nothing more than an opportunity to refine your imagination, to hone your ability to create the reality you desire. Consider the inventor Thomas Edison. When asked about his many failed attempts to create the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This, my listeners, is the attitude of a true creator, of one who understands the power of imagination. You see, when you truly grasp that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state, you realize that every experience, whether deemed positive or negative by the world, is an opportunity for growth, for refinement, for coming into closer alignment with your true divine self. So embrace the chances, my dear listeners. Embrace the challenges, for in doing so, you embrace life itself. You step into the flow of creation, aligning yourself with the very power that spins galaxies and ignites stars. Now, let us pause for a moment and consider the alternative. What happens when we shrink from risk, when we allow fear to dictate our choices? The result, inevitably, is regret. And oh, what a bitter draught is regret! How it gnaws at the soul, how it dims the light of possibility that shines within us all. Regret, you see, is not merely sadness over a missed opportunity. It is the soul's recognition that we have denied our own divine nature, that we have chosen to play small when we were created for greatness. It is the ache of unfulfilled potential, the quiet desperation of a life half-lived. I tell you this, my listeners, there is no pain more acute, no burden more heavy than the weight of regret. For unlike other pains which may be soothed by time or circumstance, regret grows heavier with each passing day. It is a debt that compounds interest, a wound that festers rather than heals. But take heart, for just as you have the power to create regret through inaction and fear, so too do you have the power to banish it forever through the courage of your imagination and the boldness of your choices. Remember always, you are not a helpless victim of circumstance. You are a divine creator, shaping reality with every thought, every belief, every assumption. The world you see around you is nothing more and nothing less than the outpicturing of your own consciousness. So I ask you, what kind of world will you create? Will it be a world of timidity and regret, of opportunities forever missed and dreams forever deferred? Or will it be a world of bold action, of dreams realized, of a life lived to its fullest potential? The choice, as always, is yours. But know this, no one else can make that choice for you. No one else can take the chances that call to your soul. No one else can live your life. Now, some of you may be thinking, but how do I begin? How do I cultivate the courage to take chances, to step into the unknown? To you, I say this: begin with your imagination, for it is in the realm of imagination that all things are possible, that all realities are born. Start by imagining yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions of joy, of fulfillment, of achievement that come with realizing your dreams. Make this imaginal act so vivid, so real, that it feels more true to you than your current circumstances. You see, my dear listeners, when you do this, you are not merely daydreaming or engaging in wishful thinking. You are engaging in the highest form of prayer, of communion with the divine, for your imagination is nothing less than God in action within you. As you continue this practice, you will find that the chances that once seemed so daunting begin to lose their power over you. For you will have glimpsed a greater reality, a higher truth. You will have tasted the nectar of your own divine potential, and nothing in this world will be able to hold you back. Remember, the Bible tells us, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This, my listeners, is the very essence of using your imagination to create your reality. When you have faith in your imaginal acts, when you believe in the reality of your inner vision more than the evidence of your physical senses, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. The universe itself begins to rearrange itself to match your inner vision. Opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere. People come into your life who can help you on your journey. Doors open that you never even knew existed. But none of this can happen if you remain paralyzed by fear, if you refuse to take the chances that your soul is calling you to take. For you see, risk is the bridge between your current reality and the life of your dreams. It is the price of admission to the grand adventure that is a life fully lived. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but what about practicality? What about responsibility? Surely we can't all just quit our jobs and chase our wildest dreams. And to you, I say this: who told you that your dreams and your responsibilities are mutually exclusive? Who convinced you that practicality and passion cannot coexist? These, my dear listeners, are nothing more than limiting beliefs, shadows cast by a consciousness not yet fully awakened to its own power. For when you truly understand the creative power of your imagination, you realize that you can reshape your entire reality, including your responsibilities and practical concerns, to align with your deepest desires. Consider for a moment, what if your current job, your current relationships, your current circumstances are exactly what you need to propel you towards your dreams? What if they are not obstacles to be overcome, but stepping stones perfectly placed on your path to greatness? You see, when you change your inner world, your perception of the outer world changes as well. What once seemed like drudgery becomes an opportunity for growth. What once seemed like a dead-end job becomes a launching pad for your true calling. But this shift can only happen when you dare to take chances, when you dare to believe in the reality of your imaginal acts more than the temporary conditions of your physical senses. Remember, my listeners, the Bible tells us that faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. Your imagination, fueled by faith, is the mustard seed. The mountains are the obstacles, the risks, the challenges that seem to stand between you and your dreams. But I tell you this, those mountains are nothing more than mist and shadow when confronted with the power of your awakened imagination. So dare to dream, my dear listeners. Dare to imagine a life so grand, so magnificent that it takes your breath away. And then, armed with that vision, step boldly into the world and take the chances necessary to bring that vision into reality. For you see, risk is not the enemy. Fear is not the enemy. The true enemy, the only enemy that can truly defeat you, is the regret that comes from never having tried, from never having dared to reach for the stars that call your name in the quiet of the night. Now, let us delve even deeper into this idea of chance and regret. Many of you may be wondering, but how do I know which chances to take? How do I discern between foolish risks and divine opportunities? To you, I say this: the answer lies not in the outer world, but within you. You see, my dear listeners, within each of you exists a divine compass, an inner knowing that always points true north. Some call it intuition, others call it the still small voice within. I tell you that it is nothing less than the voice of God speaking through you, guiding you towards your highest good. When you quiet your mind, when you step away from the clamor and chatter of the external world and listen deeply to this inner voice, you will always know which path to take, which chances to embrace, which opportunities to seize. But here's the catch: this inner voice often speaks in whispers, not shouts. It requires us to be still, to be attentive, to cultivate a deep and abiding faith in our own divine nature. And yes, my listeners, this too requires a kind of risk, the risk of believing in yourself, of trusting your own inner wisdom even when the world around you seems to counsel caution and conformity. Remember, the greatest risk of all is not in taking a chance on your dreams. The greatest risk is in denying the call of your own soul, in turning a deaf ear to the whispers of your own heart. For in doing so, you risk losing touch with your true self, with the divine spark that animates your very being. Now, some of you may be thinking, but I've taken chances before, and they didn't pan out. I've been hurt. I've failed. I've lost much. And to you, I say this: there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. Every seeming setback, every apparent loss, is nothing more than an opportunity for growth, for refinement, for coming into closer alignment with your true purpose. Consider for a moment, what if every chance you've taken, every risk you've embraced, every leap of faith you've made has been perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this very moment? What if every experience, whether judged as positive or negative by the world, has been a crucial step on your journey of self-realization? You see, my listeners, when you truly understand that you are the author of your own reality, you realize that there are no mistakes, no wrong turns, no dead ends. There is only the unfolding of your own consciousness, the gradual awakening to your own divine nature. So embrace your past, my dear listeners. Embrace every chance you've taken, every risk you've seized, every leap you've made. For each of these experiences has shaped you, has molded you, has brought you closer to the realization of your true self. And now, armed with this wisdom, with this deep understanding of your own creative power, I urge you to step boldly into the future. To embrace the chances that call to your soul. To seize the opportunities that align with your deepest desires. For you see, the world is waiting for you. The universe itself is conspiring in your favor, eager to support you in the manifestation of your grandest vision. But it cannot act on your behalf unless you take that first step, unless you dare to take chances, to believe, to imagine a reality far grander than your current circumstances might suggest. Remember always, no one else can do this for you. No one else can live your life, dream your dreams, or fulfill your destiny. That sacred task belongs to you and you alone. Now, let us turn our attention to the practical application of these principles. For you see, my dear listeners, the creative power of your imagination is not merely a philosophical concept to be pondered in the abstract. It is a living, breathing force that can be applied to every aspect of your life. Begin by identifying the areas of your life where you've been holding back, where fear of risk has kept you from fully expressing your true self. Perhaps it's in your career, where you've stayed in a job that no longer fulfills you out of fear of the unknown. Perhaps it's in your relationships, where you've held back from expressing your true feelings out of fear of rejection. Or perhaps it's in your personal growth, where you've avoided trying new things, learning new skills, or exploring new ideas out of fear of failure. Once you've identified these areas, I want you to do something that may seem counterintuitive at first. I want you to imagine, in vivid detail, the worst possible outcome of taking the chance that calls to you. See it, feel it, experience it in your imagination as if it were happening right now. Now, here's the crucial part, ask yourself, could I handle this? Could I survive this? Could I learn and grow from this experience? I think you'll find, more often than not, that the answer is yes. You are far more resilient, far more capable, far more powerful than you give yourself credit for. You see, my dear listeners, when you face your fears head-on in your imagination, when you allow yourself to experience them fully, you rob them of their power over you. You realize that even the worst-case scenario is not as devastating as your fear would have you believe. And now, having faced your fears, I want you to turn your imagination to the best possible outcome. See yourself taking that chance, making that leap, and succeeding beyond your wildest dreams. Feel the joy, the exhilaration, the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from living true to yourself, from answering the call of your soul. Make this imaginal act so vivid, so real, that it becomes more true to you than your current circumstances. Live from this state, operate from this consciousness, and watch as your outer world begins to reshape itself to match your inner vision. Remember, my listeners, this is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is the highest form of creative action, the very process by which the universe itself comes into being. For you are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are the creative force individualized and made manifest. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about divine timing? What if I'm not ready for the fulfillment of my desires? To you, I say this, divine timing is not something imposed upon you from without. It is the natural unfoldment of your own consciousness. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the consciousness of already being the person you desire to be, you are in perfect alignment with divine timing. The outer manifestation of your desire becomes as natural and inevitable as a seed becoming a flower. So do not wait for some external sign that it's time to take a chance, to make a change, to step into the fullness of who you truly are. The time is always now. The place is always here. The power is always within you. Remember, my dear listeners, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a practice run for some future existence. This is the main event, the grand performance, the one precious life you have been given to express the fullness of your divine nature. Will you spend it cowering in the shadows of fear and doubt, or will you step boldly onto the stage, into the spotlight of your own greatness? The choice, as always, is yours. But know this, no one else can make that choice for you. No one else can take the chances that call to your soul. No one else can live your life. Now, let us address another aspect of risk-taking that often holds people back, the fear of disappointing others or failing to meet their expectations. Many of you may be thinking, but what about my family, my friends, my community? What if they don't understand or support my choices? To you, I say this: your primary responsibility in this life is to be true to yourself, to fully express the divine nature that is your birthright. When you do this, when you live authentically and courageously, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible when one dares to take chances, to dream, to imagine a greater reality. Remember, my listeners, the people in your life are not separate from you. They are reflections of your own consciousness, playing roles in the grand drama of your self-realization. As you change, as you step into the fullness of who you truly are, you will find that they change too. Some may fall away, no longer resonating with your new vibration. Others will rise to meet you, inspired by your courage and transformed by your example. And for those who struggle to understand or support your journey, hold compassion in your heart. For they too are on their own path of awakening, their own journey of self-discovery. Your role is not to convince them or seek their approval, but to live your truth so fully, so joyfully, that they cannot help but be touched by the light of your being. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought, a final challenge. I want you to imagine for a moment that you are at the end of your life, looking back on the journey you've traveled. What do you see? What do you feel? Do you see a life lived boldly, filled with chances taken and dreams pursued? Do you feel the deep satisfaction of knowing that you gave everything, that you held nothing back, that you expressed the fullness of your divine nature? Or do you see a life of caution and compromise, of dreams deferred and passions denied? Do you feel the ache of regret, the bitter knowledge that you played it safe when your soul was calling you to soar? The choice, my dear listeners, is yours. And it is a choice you make not once, but every day, with every thought, every word, every action. Will you choose the path of risk, of faith, of bold self-expression? Or will you choose the path of safety, of conformity, of quiet desperation? Remember always, no one else can make this choice for you. No one else can take the chances that call to your soul. No one else can live your life. So I urge you, my dear listeners, with all the love and conviction in my heart, choose risk over regret. Choose faith over fear. Choose the bold expression of your divine nature over the tepid conformity of a life half-lived. For you see, this is not merely about achieving goals or realizing dreams. This is about fulfilling the very purpose for which you were created. This is about stepping into the fullness of who you truly are, about allowing the divine spark within you to blaze forth in all its glory. And when you do this, when you dare to risk everything in pursuit of your highest vision, you will find that the universe itself conspires in your favor. You will discover strengths you never knew you had, tap into wisdom you didn't know you possessed, and manifest possibilities beyond your wildest dreams. For you are not merely human, my dear listeners. You are divine. You are eternal. You are the very creative force of the universe individualized and made manifest. And when you fully embrace this truth, when you dare to live from this understanding, there is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. So go forth, my beloved listeners, and take chances greatly. Dream boldly. Imagine wildly. For in doing so, you fulfill your divine purpose and illuminate the world with the unique light that only you can shine.